Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blow the Whistle Sports. I am your host, Wayne Holloway, and it is now 3/8/23, and football is a thing of the past until right around the corner. Right around the corner. You know what's coming up, that draft, but right now, you know what month it is, March Madness. And we're going to get into it. And we're going to talk about that free agency and little tidbits of who's the hot and who's not, and who should go where, and all that great stuff. But before I go any further, let me introduce my co-host. You know the man, Mr. Steven Rubain. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great tonight. How you doing?
Man, I'm great. Oh man, feels good to be back up in here. Let me see. Let me cut us down a little bit. Feel like I'm coming in a little too hot.
Yeah.
There we go. And yeah, like you said, Pete, like I said, we're a work in progress. We're getting our sound together. If I got any sound man out there that I need to talk to you real quick, hit your boy up, hit me in the DMs. I need your little expertise for a second, and we'll take care of you. But without further ado, Steve, let's get into this news.
All right. Well, the news this week, I'm gonna call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, which one do you want to go with first?
Let's go with the ugly.
Ooh, the ugly. Ja Morant. Ja Morant for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Uh-oh.
The theme for the ugly is gun violence. I mean,
that was him?
Ja Morant's the one who was in the club, wanted to show off the gun on Instagram Live. It's not so much violence, but
it's a professional
NBA player.
Not a professional
NBA player. I mean, you want to say he was a rookie? It's a rookie mistake, but he's not a rookie. His dad played in the NBA.
He should know better.
And he posted himself on Instagram Live. It wasn't somebody saw him with the gun and did it. He himself posted himself pulling out the gun on Instagram. I
have to clean my ear out because I don't believe I'm hearing you right. Please say that one more time, Steve.
He was, after the game, they won the game, they were playing the Denver Nuggets. So they're in Denver at the club.
Right.
You know, we all know the players want to go to the club, have a good time. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
He decides, because he wants to show he's a gangster, that he's going to have himself be videotaped at the club and then pulls out what looks like it's a gun. Visually can be seen as a type of a gun weapon.
Steve, now he did something stupid. I'm not about to sit up here and let you say that he thought he was a gangster.
What else can you call it? Why else would somebody do something of that nature other than the mentality of, I'm going to try to show myself to be hard for some reason?
He's making millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
Why do you care what anybody thinks about your gangster?
And we know in the NFL, they call it the shield. I mean, the NBA definitely is not tolerating that. So, he's already on, first of all, it's called a 2-game suspension.
Crazy.
Now it's been extended for another 4 games. We may not see him for a while.
What's the other guy's name that mama called him up to the store?
Mama called. Oh, my God. I don't even want to talk about that one. I can't.
This is beyond ridiculous.
Beyond ridiculous.
And let me say this to whoever is a talent at whatever sport that you're playing. Do you and have fun. Don't care about what nobody think of you. In fact, hire you a bodyguard.
I'm going to take it one step further because this is International Women's Day. And we're going to throw some women's information.
But Steve, they need to hear this. Hire you a bodyguard.
But no.
Pay somebody to take care of you.
No, I'm going to go one step further. Forget about that.
Okay.
That doesn't even matter. My mama raised me to say, and this is one of her most important things. She said, son, I put you in this world, and anything you do outside, you do your reflection on me.
Right.
So I don't want to ever see you do something that comes back on me and is a bad reflection on me. And I think more of these athletes need to look at it that way. If you at a club, if your mama's right there next to you, would you be doing what you're doing? Yes or no? If you do what your mama is not doing, more likely than likely, you're safer.
The funny part about what you're saying, and I'm sorry, Steve.
Yeah.
One guy's mama called him up to come act a fool.
Well, okay.
So that kind of makes the point.
But now you're talking about the extreme. Let's talk about the good mamas out there. You talk about a bad mama.
I'm not gonna talk about his mama like she's a bad mama. She made a
what kind of mother would ever tell their child to do something that they're gonna be ashamed of later, other than a bad mother?
She could have ruined his career, or worse yet, what if somebody would have shot him?
Exactly. So I mean, I don't use that as the example. I use that as all those great mothers, and I represent all the great mothers and wives and sisters and cousins, all them out there. Ignore a packet on this one. If you in the club, have fun. It's okay. Do some things that are okay. But if you're gonna do something that you know your mom is gonna be totally embarrassed to see you do, don't do it. So that means pulling out a gun. It's not something that you want to see your mama do, especially if you're a multi-millionaire. Ain't no need for it. And speaking of another one,
this is wild, man.
I wish I was done with just gun. This is even worse. Shawn Kemp. Now, those who don't know Shawn Kemp, is the NBA legend, played for the Seattle Supersonics.
Yes, sir.
Supersonics. I mean, I missed that team. But anyway, Shawn Kemp was arrested this week, involved in a drive-by shooting in Tacoma, Washington.
Say it's not so, Steve.
Say
it's not so.
I know. Unfortunately, it's so.
Please like, subscribe, and share. Hit us up. We're going to put the number up so y'all can call in. Go ahead, Steve. I just wanted to put that
53-year-old Shawn Kemp was apparently involved in some situation where there was some kind of argument. Gun was pulled out. Someone drove by with a gun, ended up shooting somebody. He was still at the scene. Cops arrested him. Had some involvement, whether he was the one even involved with the gun or around the people with the gun.
He's 53 years old.
53 years old. And
so we can't blame it on youth.
Can't blame it on youth at all. It's just
he's 53 years old.
53 years old, and it's just ugly.
He's
ugly.
made. He's having fun. He should be. This be the highlight of his life.
Retirement. Should have enough money to last the rest of his life. Just
and you know, NBA, forget retirement and the money that you saved. You get a pension.
You get a pension, and so there's no reason for him to do what he's doing. But the gun violence got to stop. I mean, the guns, the mentality, the gun violence, the I don't know, the mindset. It has to stop.
Crazy.
So, that's just ugly. You just can't get no uglier than that. So then let's go to the bad. But the bad is more personal than anything else for me. Today, it's looking like two of our...
Wait a minute, you forgot about Willie McGinnis.
Well, Willie McGinnis. Is that ugly?
Willie McGinnis, he had a fight in a club and put a man in the hospital.
Okay, that's not ugly. That's every... that's the situation 10 times a year.
But Willie McGinnis, Shawn Kemp, these are people.
Did he use his fist or did he use a gun?
He used a bottle. He hit somebody over the head with a
okay, well, that kind of is old school.
But what I'm saying is, Willie McGinnis, Shawn Kemp, they should be showing the youth what to do and what not to do.
Well, they should be, but I mean, athletes and violence is bad enough of an issue. Athletes and gun violence is a whole different realm. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying Willie McGinnis should get a pass. I'm just sitting here saying there's a difference between in the club, you pulling a gun out, and in the club, probably some words were exchanged. Probably somebody called him a name, whatever. And he decided to take it on his, old school.
Well, they said maybe they're having a midlife crisis.
Yeah, well, maybe they are having one, but don't pull out a gun. I mean, I'm not a favor of a fist fight. But in the old days, that's how things were handled.
I'm okay with a fist fight.
Yeah, fist fight. I mean, bottle's not great, but I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
But check this out, Steve. We're at a date and time where Instagram and Facebook is running wild.
Oh, running wild.
These people, if you want to put your hands on somebody, get that person, give them a contract, and you can make some money off of it.
Oh, yeah.
With your stature.
I agree. And just I mean, there's no reason now with all these cell phones, all the things that are out there, to be trying to do anything that's showing any levels of violence. So yeah, I'm against all violence. It's just the gun violence is really bothering me. So yeah, I'm not gonna give Willie McGinnis a pass. I'm just sitting here saying
gun violence is one thing, and people being violent is another thing. But these people are people that is supposed to be rich, famous, living their life to the fullest.
Well, what was Charles Barkley saying?
Who can make you that mad?
Well, Charles Barkley said, I'm not a role model. He said, just because I'm an athlete don't mean I'm a role model. I am who I am. And so remember that was one of his big statements back in the day. So I don't know. Should we look at them as role models, or should we just look at them as human beings? Are they just average Joes who just do average things?
I believe this is showing everybody these are just human beings with special abilities.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's it.
I mean, it's an ongoing thing. Like I say, it's a national crisis. It's not just sports alone. I mean, it's happening all over in all aspects of our lives. But
and some people got breaks and some people don't get breaks.
Right.
The difference is that these people had is maybe they had somebody in their life that pushed them a little more to do sports. Anybody can play sports, but not everybody has that it factor or that talent.
I agree.
But if you put your mind and your heart to it, you got the physical attributes, you can get into it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many opportunities out here now. I mean, sports is just, look at the NFL now. I mean, football. You got like 3 different leagues now, in addition to Canada. NBA, you got the G League. You got so many overseas. It's just so many opportunities out there. And so, yeah, we got to do better, guys. We got to do better.
Got to do better. And mamas, dads, don't put your sons under the gun.
Man, you want to just focus on. I'm gonna come back with some good mother love.
I understand when we all were young. We all made mistakes. Right. I am not the same person that I was 20 years ago. I'm not the same person.
Okay.
Now I did some questionable things. I did some things. Right.
I understand.
But don't judge me on that person. But I'm talking about these people. This young, I understand young and being dumb, and as they say, full of what.
Right.
But a mother, I really, you're supposed to keep your son away from that.
You're supposed to.
Things happened to my mom that she was out in the street. She could have called me, and she know what it would have been problems if I showed up.
Right.
But my mom wouldn't put me up under that. She would try to hide it from me, if anything.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, we're gonna recognize there's some really bad mothers out there, but we're gonna also recognize all the great mothers out there as well.
Yes.
But before I get to that, I'm going to talk about the bad.
So we went from the ugly to the bad?
We went from the ugly to the bad. I'm going to say the good for last.
Okay, say the good
Let's
for
say the
last.
good for last. Because, I mean, like I said, we seem to come into like a negative sports show because there's just so much negative out there.
The thing is, not a negative sports show. All we did was tell the latest, hottest news from football to basketball. And these guys is out there acting like they ain't got no common sense.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we got to just recognize that. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes we got to step away from that and talk about some good things as well. But I do want to bring in this one thing just because it's personal to me. And this is actually relating to March Madness and college basketball. 2 legends of the college basketball game. First one, they're both now coaches. One is more known for being a player. First one, Jim Boeheim for Syracuse.
Jim Boeheim.
Yes, someone who doesn't know who he is. 47 years as the Syracuse coach. So Jim Boeheim goes back to a time when college basketball was king. The golden age of college basketball. The 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s when Syracuse was a power, winning national championships, bringing in NBA players. He's really the last of, with Coach K retiring last year, he's really the last of that golden age era of coaches. So he had his last game today where they lost by a buzzer beater to Wake Forest. 47 years, over 1,100 wins, number 2 all-time coaching wins. It's the end of an era. I mean, it really is. It's kind of, much as I didn't like him as a coach because I was a Georgetown fan, I kind of got sad that they just realized, oh my God, we'll never see him on the sidelines again. So that was kind of one thing. And then the other one, probably one of the greatest college basketball players of all time, Patrick Ewing, who decided to go on to his alma mater. It is his alma mater, Georgetown University, the team that he led to 3 Final Fours, 3-time NCAA Player of the Year. He now, probably his last game, as they're going to lose to Villanova. Just we thought he'd come to Georgetown, that it would be great for him, that he would be resurrect the program. It's actually gone down to the point where they won 6 games last year. I think this year they have 6 or 7 wins. And so it's kind of sad because you wanted to cheer for him, wanted him to do well, but it just wasn't meant to be. So that's kind of just my bad. It's kind of like just the end of an era for college basketball. So I'm gonna leave it at that as far as the March Madness. I mean, there's more tournament games this week, but it's just not the same. It just don't feel the same. It's just with the NIL deals and the way players now come and go from college basketball and transfer all over the place. It's just not the same sport. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, what we can say is, get your brackets ready. It's time to make some money.
There you go. Hey, but I'm all for March Madness brackets. I mean, this year is going to be one of the wildest brackets of all time because there's just no clear runaway teams. This could be a year where number 1 seeds could lose the number 16 seeds. Whole lot of things could happen in
Number
this tournament.
16, Steve.
Yeah, this is a year where it could happen because there's really no super powerhouse teams. Even the top 5, 6, 7, 8 teams have been just up and down. So,
how good have you ever did on the bracket?
Best I did on a bracket, I had like out of the 32 games, I think I had like 25, and I had 3 of the Final 4 teams.
Wow.
I had that was one year where it was like clear cut. I was on fire, and it was just one bracket that messed me up, and it was Duke, and I'll never forgive Duke for that.
You don't win money for doing almost good, huh?
No, you got to
get them all.
Got to get them all, or at least get maybe 1 wrong, 2 wrongs.
Okay,
so it's tough, and especially like I said, now it's especially tough because so many teams are just so even. It's not like the old days where you had those super powerhouse teams that you knew were going to go Final Four. Now, anybody could make it to the Final Four. So almost, I won't say anybody, but there's about 15, 16 teams legitimately can make it to the Final Four. So we'll see. We're going to get more into that next week after we get the brackets. So next week, our show, the brackets will be set, and we can go over and go through our predictions.
Hey, I'm going to put my bracket in.
I'm with my bracket. Brackets.
There you have it.
I've never put one bracket in.
I'll give everybody a little heads up.
Yeah.
A lot of stars do their own brackets where they give away TVs. It's more than one bracket to get into. Get into all of them. Have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You have to have some fun with this. I mean, come on.
Hey, did you the Lakers just made it into the playoffs?
What playoffs?
And the Lakers like the 9 seed now?
Well, they made it. I think the 9th or 10th seed. They made it to the play-in game. So the NBA now has a different playoff.
Steve.
The NBA has a different playoff system now. So the 9th, 10th seed now has to play in a play-in game to have a chance to get into playoffs. So that's not actually the playoffs. It's called now the play-in game. But I mean,
they're the 9th seed, Steve.
They're the 9th seed, so they still got about 15. 16.
That's an accomplishment.
No, I mean, get a Lakers accomplishment, and let's see these last 15 games. Right now, as you know, the King James is out and going to be out for a couple more weeks. So right now, it's all on Anthony Davis. It's his hand.
And he did the thing the other
night. But the problem with him is, can he do it consistently?
He's great
for a couple
You leave
games.
Anthony Davis alone.
Okay, I'll just call it like it is. He's had how many years in the league now? Almost 8, 9 years. And he hasn't been the man yet. And so until he shows that he is the man, don't get me wrong, he's a great Robin to LeBron James, Batman. But can he be Batman? That's the question. And speaking of that, let me talk about Paul George. Did I talk about the Paul George comment he made the other day?
Go ahead.
So Paul George, of course, fringe NBA Hall of Famer, had one of the most horrendous injuries I've ever seen. That injury when he was going up for the Olympic team, where devastated his leg, his knee. Was able to come back, bounce back, and has had a very strong career despite that injury. He came out. He was on one of those podcasts the other day. He said, I had a pretty fair analysis of myself, and I know that I'm not as talented as I am. I'm not the man. I can't be the one to lead the team to the championship, but I'm a great number 2. I'm somebody who I got all the skills that if I have that Batman, I can be a strong Robin.
Okay.
And I think that's a pretty impressive statement to make for a player to actually come out and openly say, I understand who I am, and I'm not the elite player, but I am good in the right situation.
AD should have stayed with the Pelicans.
Maybe. You might be right. I mean, he was killing. I mean, when he had him and DeMarcus Cousins, that was a beast 1-2. I mean, they were putting up 20-20s each.
It's questionable when players make these moves. Like I've always questioned Julius Peppers leaving Carolina, where he was a LeBron or a Kobe or a Michael Jordan in Carolina to go to the next team and be a backup. Not even a backup, but a secondary person.
Well, what was his? Tell me about that. What was his decision behind that? Because it wasn't like he went to a better team. He didn't go to an organization that was like championship ready.
All I know is on Carolina, the man was Superman.
Yeah,
and he went to another team to be Clark Kent.
Yeah, it was good. Well, I think
It made no sense.
He went to New York thinking like the bright lights of New York and all the attention and stardom and all that stuff.
No, he went to Green Bay.
Was it
right?
Green Bay first or Giants first?
I think it was Green Bay. But regardless, he didn't want to play 4-3. He wanted to play 3-4.
Right. He didn't like the offensive scheme.
Exactly. He wanted to go.
So it wasn't about money.
No, it wasn't about money. But why would you change up? Just like talking about AD, he was the man over there. Right. He can't. He wanted to be Robin.
Yeah, wanted to be Robin. I guess. I mean, and probably it might have cost him a Hall of Fame spot. You think Julius Peppers will get in the Hall of Fame? I mean, I think he's going to get in, but
he did enough before he left Carolina,
right,
to put him in.
Yeah.
That man.
I mean, no, he
genetic freak.
Yeah, no, he was a beast. I mean, his first 8-9 years were electric.
He was facing people.
Yeah, I mean, he was a slight level below someone like a Reggie White, who just had to be triple team, double triple team every time. He was on that type of level where you had to know where he was at all times. And so, I give you that. Some guys just make bad decisions. Hey, speaking of bad decisions, let's talk about free agency. Let's get into that. I don't want to get into free agency yet.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about the good. So before we get into that NFL free agency, let's talk about the good.
Let's hear about that good, Steve.
Now, despite Packard trying to destroy International Women's Day, I'm going to sit here and give some love.
Did y'all see him slide me up under the bus?
I mean,
he slid me up under the bus.
You picked the worst example of a woman as a mother to try to elaborate on.
Because it just happened.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't want to see this happen again.
Well, I'm talking about International Women's Day. And we need to recognize those mothers, our sisters, our wives, cousins, co-workers, all these women who have been so strong. Without them, there's no us. And that's the way I look at it. You're always going to give love to them.
I see you're going to get a batch of cookies coming in the mail.
Yes, I will. Well, I'm going to tell you this. So in on today, I'm going to talk about some positive stories.
All right, let's hear the good, Steve. Let's hear the good.
So first one is in baseball. We now, for the first time in baseball, you have a woman as both president and a woman as general manager of a baseball team, the Miami Marlins.
Say what?
So we're going to talk about this for a second. Her name is Kim Ig. She's the GM, and her name is Caroline O'Connor. She's the president for the Miami Marlins. So this is a big story as far as, it's one thing for a woman to be an owner. Maybe the husband died or, she has money through or whatever, and she takes over the team, which is impressive in itself. But for two women to come up to the ranks where they're actually in charge of making business decisions, overseeing the whole organization, that's a huge story in a sport like baseball. Let's be honest with you, they've been pretty slow as far as incorporating women into their game. It's kind of like you guys just play softball. We're not really into baseball. So this is a huge story. So I'm gonna give some love for the Marlins organization for making that decision. And so that's a honorable thing to say about for International Women's Day.
That's a big thing for International Women's Day.
Big thing. But I'm gonna recognize some other strong women. Jeannie Buss from your Los Angeles Lakers.
Yep. Say your Los Angeles Lakers.
Owner, she's taken over the rounds in the last 5-6 years.
And she's did way better than her brother did.
Way better than the brother.
She got the championship.
The NBA championship. So got to give her love for that. I think, the first woman to win an NBA championship. So as owner.
Chip off the old block.
So let's give her some love. I had put up a couple other ones. We have Cynthia Marshall, who's now the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, who, quite frankly, made a huge decision when they traded for Kyrie Irving. And that's still kind of a work in progress to see if that's going to work out. But they had a huge game last week where both of them scored over 40 points, him and Luka Doncic. So that's an interesting combination. So we'll see where that goes. God, so many.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do you think we will ever get a woman coach in the NFL?
Yes, I do. I really do.
How about a woman head coach?
Well, I think we already have a woman coach. There's already a woman assistant coach in the NFL. There's been like two. I think one is like for I forget what to say, defensive backs. I think another one does kind of like special teams or something like that. There are two women assistant coaches in the NFL.
Well, they're not talked about.
They're not main coordinators.
Yes, and are they assistant to the assistant?
Right. Well, they're kind of. Well, I mean, assistant coach is pretty much assistant to the assistant because you have the coordinators.
Yeah,
and then they oversee the assistant coaches. So yeah, to a point, they are kind of assistants to assistants. So yeah, but that still being said, would there be a woman coordinator? Yes, I definitely think in the next 5 years we will see one. I mean, the NFL game is just exploding so much, and there's so much love for football out there. And I think women have really come a long way as far as, they've always been supporters of football, but now they're really getting into all realms. Whether it's officiating like us, we got you now see women referees and and so it's coming a long way, and it's building. So we got to recognize that.
And a couple of women referees they're out there looking outstanding.
Yes, they are. They're doing a great job. I mean, to be honest with you, I would trust a women official more than a male official in a lot of cases because they're going to make a better call. That's just called. They're going to be more. They're not going to get bought or get called into the.
Okay, you're talking about an official capacity. I was talking about their looks. They were looking pretty nice out there.
Well, that's kind of sad. Don't get down our road. I'm not taking your calls. I'm talking about their talents on the field.
I'm not catcalling them. I'm just saying that they pretty some nice lookers.
I'm arguing that. I'm just saying I'm not getting that call when somebody comes in and say you're being sexy. So that was all him. I'm speaking of the talents they have.
Ooh, Steve, like throwing me up under the bus.
They said if you're writing in, if you calling in, just remember it's the guy to the left.
Please like, subscribe,
subscribe, and share.
And we want to let you guys know, coming up in April, we're going to take a hiatus for 3 weeks.
Yeah, we're going to have a little time, in between March Madness ending, and then we're going to get into the NFL draft. So we need
the draft will be the last month. So that last week, Wednesday.
Yeah, we're going to be able to get right into the draft. Really get into the dirt. But let me get this one last story, because this is actually like a feel-good story. I like to end on a feel-good story for International Women's Day.
Okay.
So we have these two softball teams in the NAIA. One is Southeastern University, and the other one is Grandview University. And they're having a softball game.
Grandview.
Yes, last weekend. And you had a player for Southeastern University who hit a grand slam home run. And as she's rounding the bases, somehow when she rounded second base, she did something to herself where her leg collapsed. She did something where she couldn't get up and run anymore. Now, for those who understand the rules, if you don't score the run, then the runs don't count, and you can no longer be back in the game.
Wow.
So, and your teammates can't help you. You got to find a way to get across yourself. Now, two players from the opposing team decided to pick her up, put her on her shoulders, and carry her around third base and home base so that she could score the run. Now, that's not sportsmanship. Nothing ever is. I mean, can you imagine in a pro game something like that happen, where pro players would?
I'd have been pissed off about people. You got to put her ass down. Hey, I'm just saying. And
then he says, I throw him under the bus.
But
I'm trying to.
I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about anybody, not a woman. I'm talking about male or female.
Yeah.
And we're playing a sport that I want to win.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of the story. Sportsmanship. They went above and beyond, looking out. And these were two ranked teams. This wasn't like two teams that were just sorry and they had nothing to play for.
Hey, kudos.
Both teams were ranked, and for those two ladies to do something like that and take the. I mean, I think that's a great sportsmanship story.
It is.
I mean, they're like
it touched my heart, Steve.
And I just can't believe that you just can't appreciate good sportsmanship.
I mean, I appreciate the good sportsmanship.
Now you got problems when Tom Brady is deflating footballs, when Bill Belichick is scouting on games. Then there's a problem there. But then you don't want to appreciate the good innocent sports players who actually is beyond more than just wins and losses.
No, all right. Now let's say you were in Vegas and you bet on such game, and let's say, are you going to appreciate them carrying around to get a point?
But there you go. See, professionalism is destroyed through sports betting. sports betting has destroyed professional sports because it's all about just the wins and losses and not about the sportsmanship itself. Speaking of this, since you did bring this up, I did want to talk about one last thing since you did bring up sports betting.
All right.
Did you hear this latest one? The WWE, which is World Wrestling Entertainment, has now put in a petition. They brought a petition or actually through a couple states where they now can have where you can bet on wrestling matches. Did you hear that? They're going to make it now where you can go to the sports book and actually bet on wrestling matches. Now, we all know wrestling is fake. But what they're going to do to incorporate in that is that they're going to keep it secret to the very last minute who's supposed to win or lose so that you can go in there and make a bet on this wrestling match. What do you think?
I think that's a bunch of hot garbage.
Well, they put it in for 2 states. They're trying to get it where you can actually go in, especially like for the big WrestleMania matches and those type of matches where you have.
I don't think that'll fly.
You don't think so?
No.
I think for the sports gambler, people will take those chances and say.
So that means any friends or family can just get rich now.
Well, that's going to be the thing where there's going to be an issue because how are you going to protect against?
So we're going to say that everybody's going to be on the up and up,
right? And
no one is going to give inside information. Now, we've seen what happened just in regular business when people do inside information. But now we're going to take something that we know has a script, and we're going to say, no, man, stop it.
Well, think about it, though. I mean, you have people betting on the Oscars, betting on who's going to win. I mean, there's certain things that people know ahead of time who's going to win where they make bets on anyway. I mean, you can bet on pretty much anything in Vegas for the most part now. Why not WWE?
I guess.
So, I just thought that was interesting. You did bring up sports gambling, that they're actually going to now scripted sports may soon be at your casino. So that's just interesting.
Not going to happen, Steve.
All right. Well, we'll see what they do, but it's definitely they put the petition in for. So I guess on that note, maybe one last thing. Did you watch any of Pau Gasol's jersey retirement the other night?
Yeah, it teared me up.
Yeah, I figured, I do want to give Kobe Bryant some credit. I've always been harsh on Kobe. And, people know I've always
don't believe him. Don't believe him. He's a Kobe hater.
No, for International Women's Day, I'm going to give him, the Mamba Academy, which was started under the guise that he had 3 daughters, and he said, "I want to start an academy where both boys and girls can equally get the same, talent, trainings, facilities, just a great idea." Now, unfortunately, they took the Mamba off. Now it's just called the Academy. I'm not quite sure why they decided to do that, but it's still running. It's still doing very well for itself. So I want to just give a shout out to Kobe Bryant. He did it because Paul did give a nice speech recognizing the strength that Kobe gave to him to allow him to be a champion. So let's just give him a little shout out. That's a little shout out.
Finally, this is the first time Steve ever gave Kobe a shout out.
And maybe the last time. But hey, I'm feeling kind of sentimental today. So,
but Steve, let's not forget, the NFL, man.
The NFL, what's that?
The National Football League.
Oh, is there any news in the NFL? Anything happening?
Hey, man, what's the top free agents,
we
can talk about top free agents first of all.
Before we get to free agents, let's go about the combine. Because I think you and I talked a little bit about it. It was kind of a boring combine. Let's be honest with you. This wasn't one of the ones that you had a super elite talents. Or
did anybody stand out to you?
Well, that's what I'm going to ask you. There was a quarterback from Florida. I think his name's Anthony Richardson.
Wow, we both thinking about the same person?
Yeah, I guess apparently he made himself a lot of money over the weekend. You want to talk about somebody who made a lot of money over the weekend? This guy, he made himself a lot of money because he went from just being one of the quarterbacks to possibly being the 1 or 2 coming out of the draft.
Nah.
Well,
Bryce is going to take 1.
I don't know, bro. Bryce has a lot of coaches, and they're scared of the height. I mean, I don't know why the height should matter anymore.
Drew Brees.
But now you got Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson has cost the short quarterback some money now because people are now looking at him and like saying, man, he can't look over offensive line. That's what's hurt his game. So
no, I don't know if that's that problem. He can't look over the offensive line. That man is throwing balls to I don't know who he throwing it to.
Yeah, but they're saying if he was 6'4", 6'5", maybe he'd be able to see better. So I mean, I don't agree with it, but I'm just saying this is what people who are in the opposite mindsets think.
Look, folks, Russell Wilson got some more underlying conditions going on. It's more than meets the eye. There's something they're not telling us about when that comes to that guy.
You might be right. Like I said, I think, I told you last year I thought it was the coach. I thought the coach was horrible. I saw his play improved once the coach was fired. The last games of the year, he looked the best. And so
I can't wait to see, but he will not be on any of my fantasy football teams.
No. I won't touch him. But now they got a new coach. They got a coach who's a Super Bowl winning coach.
But we'll see. More about Mr. Richardson.
Yes. He's supposed to be,
I'm gonna tell you this. Talent. He looks scary. Yeah. Like that's speed.
Yeah. He reminded me, not the same position, but DK Metcalf in the combine a couple of years ago when people were like just saw he was just a freak of nature and just had he came out of nowhere. His body just looked like Adonis, and he just was just super speed, super power. And of course, you see he's had a pretty solid NFL career so far. So
he has that cannon for an arm. Yeah, that arm is something.
Yeah, the arm looks impressive. So I mean,
speed, arm,
agility. He could fall to the Commanders. He could fall down to the Commander. I'll be okay with that. But yeah, he definitely made him some money. There's no question. He probably was the cream of the crop as far as players who rose from the combine helped them.
Yeah.
Now Bryce Young, the guy you're talking about, he didn't even try out for the combine. He thought it was better for him not to go out there and do it. He said, "Let my play on the field speak for itself." So we'll see what that means.
Who do you expect to go number one?
If I had to say today, it depends. If the Bears pick, it's going to be that defensive end. Was it Alabama? Is the guy number one player?
So the Bears are okay with the quarterback they have?
Yeah. But they have to be. They're not going to. You invested in him. You're not going to give him up now. So, I mean, I think the Bears, but my expectation is that the Bears will trade down. And I'm thinking they're going to trade down. They need more than one player. They need many assets. So you can get 3 or 4 players, trade down, get those 3 or 4 players, and they'll be in better shape.
There's that number, 818-396-5080. We're only going to have it open for a little bit. Yeah. If you want to call in, hit us up.
And call in. If you want to come and give your mom a shout out, call in so you can give your mom, your wife, significant others a shout out. This is International Women's Day, so we want to recognize those great mothers and women out there. And so, and you got any great stories, we love to hear that too.
818-396-5080. But moving right along,
let's get into free agency.
There we go.
Now, before we get into free agency, let me talk about a couple players who aren't free agents, but man, are using social media to try to get themselves out of town. We got wide receivers, Stephon Diggs and DeAndre Hopkins.
I hear a lot of trade talks with Hopkins.
For some reason, both of them want to go to the Cowboys bad. I don't know why. Now Stephon Diggs, it kind of makes sense because his brother, Trevon Diggs, plays for the Cowboys. So
if Stephon Diggs is frustrated over there with Allen and with that arm, you're gonna be crying over in Dallas trying to wait for a ball to come to you.
Yeah, well, they went as far as to post on Instagram a picture of Stephon Diggs in a Dallas Cowboy jersey.
Wow.
I mean, if that's not a cry for help, nothing is. So that's going to be interesting to see. Is he going to cry himself out of town? I don't know.
Next week, Steve, we're going to pick teams.
Yeah.
And the teams that we're picked, we're going to talk about them. We're definitely going to talk about the Commanders and Carolina.
Oh, absolutely.
We're definitely going to talk about that. But if you guys have any teams you want us to go over, hit me in the DM, let me know. Or just put it on Facebook or our YouTube page. Yeah. We look at the comments.
Yeah,
we'll get right to it.
See, we had a whole lot to say. So this week we're not going to have enough time to get into the argument we want to get into because we got a whole lot to say about the Commanders and about the Panthers. So we're going to hold off on that one because like I said, we had so much news to get into today.
Exactly.
But yeah,
the top 10 free agents, and Steve, I don't agree with the order it's in.
Okay.
But I'm gonna tell
the position first of all.
I'm gonna tell quarterbacks.
Okay, quarterbacks.
I'm gonna tell you the numbers, and I'm gonna read them by numbers, and you tell me you reposition them yourself. Okay,
we'll do.
Well, number one, and this is to me, this is like a no-brainer. Lamar Jackson.
Okay, no-brainer. I'll give it that.
Second one, Jimmy Garoppolo. That's pick 2. Pick 3, Jacoby Brissett.
Okay.
Pick 4, Gardner Minshew.
Okay.
Pick 5, Andy Dalton. Pick 6, Sam Darnold.
Okay.
Pick 7, Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
Pick 8, James Winston.
Okay.
9, Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay.
And 10, you know him, Mr. Heineke.
Taylor Heineke. Brett Favre without the arm.
With a whole lot of heart.
Whole lot of heart.
Now, you position them in the right position.
Okay, I definitely would stick with Lamar Jackson number 1, just for no other reason the money involved. So that's going to be the biggest free agent dealing.
All right.
Number 2, I'll stick with Garoppolo. Number 2, I think there's going to be a market for him, especially now that Derek. And we didn't talk about Derek Carr going to the Saints, but we can hold on for that for a second. But now that Derek Carr is off the board, I'll put Garoppolo number 2. If I had my choice, number 3, I'd put Taylor Heineke number 3, to be honest with you.
Wow.
I mean, the other 7 guys that you mentioned, who's the one who's playing the hottest or looking the strongest as far as being able to win a game for you?
Out of who?
Out of the 7 guys left, I would say Taylor Heineke in the right situation, he could do something. If you put him on a team that had the right pieces, he actually could do something for you. The other 6 guys, I think, are just what they are. Now, I definitely got Mayfield over Darnold, so I would switch their position. Let me see.
Why is Winston so far down?
Winston, as talented as can be, I'm going to compare Winston to one of the guys you can recognize with, Cam Newton. Without Cam Newton's talent, there's something missing with him. He just looks too good to just not be doing what he's doing. There's something. If it's his work ethic, if it's his
just can't get right.
It's just I don't know. I mean, in Tampa, he was putting up huge numbers, but wasn't winning. They put Tom Brady in there, and 1 year, Tom Brady won the Super Bowl with the same team. I mean, the only difference in the team was just Gronk.
It happens.
And so, I mean, there's just something with Winston that just don't make me feel confident in him to lead my team. So I got him at number 8.
Do you think Lamar Jackson will be leaving Baltimore this year?
This year, yes, I do.
Even after they just franchise tagged him?
Yes, because the Ravens can't take the chance of letting him walk.
And who best suits him?
I could see him going to the Jets. I could see him going to he's a Southern guy, Falcons. I can see him going have the Bucs laid out a quarterback yet? I can see him going to Tampa in a big move.
Okay.
I mean, there's places out there for him to go. But I mean, I think he's done in Baltimore. I think. Remember, I told you this.
The disrespect in Baltimore is real.
He quit on the organization in the playoffs this year. You're the face of the franchise. You need to be out there by hook or crook. I mean, unless your situation is so bad that you can't be on the field, you're the playoff game. You need to be out there. You could be looking.
I'm gonna say it. You keep glossing over it, and I believe this is the reason for the problems out there.
What's that?
Lamar was nicked up.
Okay.
He was not hurt, sir.
Okay. But
he was able to play, and people know he was able to play.
All right.
That's the reason why they're like, this guy can go.
Okay. So if you're an owner of a team, would you want somebody like that to be the face of your franchise, and you're paying him face of the franchise money. And get it right, he wants everything guaranteed. Just think about that.
Well, when you see a person that had court issues getting paid the way they're getting paid.
Yes, but here's the difference, though. Deshaun Watson never had an issue on the field other than being in that organization. All his stuff was off field.
Mm-hmm.
So once you clear the off field stuff off, he is an elite quarterback. And so I don't agree with the guarantee money. They should never give him all that money guaranteed.
Do you think Daniel was worth all the money that New York just gave him?
This is a tough one.
Inquiring minds want to know, Steve.
Honestly, I won't say he's worth it. I think he still needs to prove it. But
so they gave him the money without proving.
Exactly. But in his situation, once again, there's nothing on the field that's an issue with him. There's nothing really even off the field that's an issue with him. We just don't know if he's that guy yet.
Mm.
He's only shown it for 1 year.
Okay.
But you don't hear any negative stories about him. You don't hear any negative stories about him on the field. I mean, before he was making a little bit too many turnovers, but he seems to have cleaned that up. So as an organization, yeah, you take a chance on him. Remember, a contract is a gamble. You're gambling that you're hoping that this person will live up to what you're paying them to do.
I'll go for that.
Now with Lamar Jackson, you got somebody who's already shown, as you just said, I wasn't going to go there with him. You said he wasn't really hurt, and everybody knows that. So if he's not really hurt,
the organization knows it.
Okay, so if he's not really hurt, am I going to give him guaranteed money over 4 or 5 years? No way. And let's be honest, 5 teams have already come out, including the Commanders. So I don't know who the owner of the Commanders is now, who said we're not even going to look at him. We're not even going to entertain the options of Lamar Jackson. So I mean, the Commanders were great for making these moves. So I know Daniel Snyder's out. The fact that they come out now and said we're not even going to look at Lamar Jackson. So
when is the official release date of Mr. Snyder?
God, hopefully 2 weeks. They got the NFL owners meeting in a couple of weeks, and I think at that point they're going to force him out. They're going to just sit there and say, "Look, either you go, or we're going to vote you out. Would you want to go on your own terms, or we like to force you out?" But he can't come back for another year.
Now, remember, people, if you want us to bring your team into focus, where we talk about your team, and you can call, we can go over it. We'll put the number up next week, but when we come next week, we're going to be talking about certain teams and whatever teams that get left in the DM, we'll try to get to as many as possible as that we can. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, thank you for tuning in.
Before you close out the show, can you say about one cut? This is somebody closer to your heart, Robbie Anderson.
I knew you was going to bring that up.
Hey, you tried to end the show without talking about Robbie Anderson. How are we going to end the show without talking about Robbie disrespect? Did he not disrespect your ex-head coach?
Well, what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say this, and please understand me. Even after I talked about all those people making bad decisions, getting into fights, with making the amount of money they're making, Robbie Anderson. What I do like about Robbie Anderson, Chosen. Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, Chosen.
He changed his name to Chosen. He had passion for the game. He loves the game. He wants to win the game. You'll never get me to talk bad about somebody that's just feeling it because they want to win games. Now, there's a lot of players in this league that play for a check, and that's it. We had a person, and they're misunderstood a lot, that when you want to win, opening your mouth means you're talking too loud. And he just voices his opinion at the wrong time.
But it's one thing to voice your opinion. There's nothing to disrespect your coach when you ain't producing. You know, if it's one thing if you got 100 receptions for 1,400 yards, you can voice your opinion. But when you got 20 catches for 220 yards,
who was passing the ball to him, Steve?
Hey, listen to me. It don't matter.
It matters a whole lot, Steve.
Okay, if you don't like your quarterback, then voice about your quarterback then. but don't go after the coach when you're not producing, when you're not getting the job done. And and if you want to talk about the quarterback, then he went on to Arizona. He didn't do nothing there. He went there for 7-8 games and got cut there too. So I mean, it has to be him.
When you put yourself up under the microscope, up under the thumb, so-called, everything you do seems to stick out loud and stink.
When you call yourself chosen, yeah, it absolutely does. Let's see who's going to choose him now.
I believe Robbie will be fine. He just needs to get to a team that really can use him and really can get him the ball. I think a Robbie Anderson will look good on the team as the Buffalo Bills.
I think you're going to be seeing him on the streets in about 2 years, probably getting in trouble.
Now that's not nice.
I hope not, but
that's not nice.
I hope not, but he looks like he's going to go down that road. When you change your name to Chosen, but you're not even a top 25 wide receiver, and you call yourself Chosen, you're going on a bad path.
Please like, subscribe, and share. Every Wednesday at 7, Blow the Whistle Sports, BTW Sports, will come to you. Me, Wayne Holloway, and Mr. Steven Rubain, we would like to say y'all thank you once again, and we'll see y'all next week. 7.
Peace.
Our hiatus, April, the first 3 weeks of April, we'll be back the 26th of April. But y'all got us all month.
Right,
and I can't wait to talk about Carolina, Cali Cat Pack, Roaring Riot, Panther Nation. I ain't forgot about y'all. It's on for next week. We're going to make some decisions. Things got to be, hey, and I'm going to post it in all the clubs, so y'all let me know what y'all talking about. Peace out.
Peace.